Some days you're just trying to make it through. Some days and doing what it do. Some days you're just trying to make it through. Ooh, 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 ooh. Some days you're just trying to make it through. Ooh. Some days you're just trying to make it do. Ooh, 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 oh, ooh, 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 ooh. Some days just trying to make it through. Some days we're just trying to make it do. Ooh, do 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 do. I think I just burnt my beard. Oh my. Why, that's embarrassing. Huh. Can you tell that I burnt my beard? It made an audible sound. And there is a noticeable smell. Huh. There's a little patch right here. I burnt a little patch on my beard. Right here. I burnt a little bit of my beard. Shaz, you're not responsible enough to have a beard if you can't take care of it, obviously. The problem is with trying to look cool on video. We have something we're supposed to be doing. The occupation of West Park. Let's play in brightness. Okay, let's turn this brighter screen. The occupation of West Park. West Park. Park. West Park. This is a lot. Let's read the first one. The occupation of West Park Presbyterian Church blog. It's only half a joint, so should be more under control than yesterday. Although I did smoke a joint earlier today. And that is all my weed. Smoked 2 joints yesterday, 1 joint earlier this morning, and I had half a joint from yesterday. From last night. And I just smoked that. And that is all of Shaz's weed. Probably for the best, since I caught my fucking... I'm gonna go back and review this video. Flare it up for a minute there, Shaz. Let that be a lesson to you. Eviction Day, Wednesday, November 16th, 2011. By Robert L. Brashear, a pastor, musician, theologian, sharing ongoing reflections on what's going on in the world around us. He has 14 followers. So he's been blogging since 2010. So that's great. So I have a historic record reference. We were paying him to stay in his church. I'm not going to read all of those because that would be the whole hour, and I think this might take already an hour. It'd be great if it took a half hour, but we've already spent 5 minutes. I'm trying to budget out the time for my Occupy videos. I'll have until like a week and a half to finish this up. So 11:16. Let's see what Robert Brashear has to say. A week ago, we went down to Zuccotti, missed Crosby, Still, and Nash by about an hour. My friend from the West was put off by the row of panhandlers holding down the west side of the park. I said that it was inevitable. She was still disappointed. The knockoff t-shirt and button sales, likewise, the unavoidable seeds and stems end of capitalism that's probably been there since the beginning of time. Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, someone's going to try and sell something. Nevertheless, there was a sense of frayed edges. The spirit of whimsy and play still shone through in the growing. Occupy Legoland being built on the north edge of the park, and inside we found a friendly young artist giving away his art, maps of the U.S., New York City, made up of words, and the same Hyde Park debates about economics continued here and there. So what the fuck? So you could already see, once you start getting very proficient in judging character. So this is someone who we're expecting to have a big ego. If he's been blogging since 2010, then we look, what is he? Is he just a pastor or something? And people are unsettled when they have to describe himself in too many words. Pastor, musician, theologian, sharing ongoing reflections on what's going on in the world around us. So many words for saying so little. Ongoing reflections, but he never really stands for anything. These are the people who are just making, and that's why the first thing his eye notices is the wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, someone's going to try to sell something. Projection of his own hope that someday this writing will turn a profit for him or get him some sort of fame, or for whatever reason he's doing it. He's not doing it just to find the truth, though, because if so, he's missing some really good truth here. His friend is put off by the panhandlers holding down the west side of the park. He says it's inevitable. She was still disappointed. What does he mean? Does he side with the panhandlers or his friend? He doesn't really say. We have panhandlers and we have judgment of them. And then we have him saying that that's just an inevitable cycle. So what is it that he's selling us? A concept of inevitable cycles of panhandling and judgment? What would I have seen there? I would have been like, people are trying to get by. Do you have anything to give? People come out here with nothing. Let's support each other. If you can offer some money, they're just going to use it for drugs and fucking booze. Yeah, everyone's living. We got a nicotine table, but there's also food. But the panhandlers are not probably looking for those food needs. Those are being taken care of. They're looking for a little bit of extra spending money so they could go have a beer with the college kids. Fucking kids going to college are going out having beers every night, hanging out. Poor kids aren't. Anyways, that's where I would come from. He said it's inevitable. She's still disappointed. He leaves it there in disappointment. Knockoff t-shirts and button sales likewise unavoidable seeds and stems end of capitalism. That's probably been there since the beginning of time. That's a really loaded sentence. What are you, a socialist? You said you were a theologian, a pastor, a musician. But you're throwing around the word capitalism. So am I to infer that you're against capitalism? You're the unavoidable, not just capitalism's over, but there's an unavoidable detritus at the end of it. This is a weird fucking backhanded way to try to prove a point or make a statement about a belief or value. All of his stuff is like, he says, it's inevitable that there's homeless. It's inevitable that you're going to have people since the beginning of time fucking trying to sell something. So what, do you believe in socialism, but such a cynical view that you believe that in your version of socialism will always be capitalism seeds and stems? Like seeds of what? Natural expression. If capitalism is a natural expression and markets and selling stuff, you've just dismissed it. It's really weird. He's claimed both grounds. He says probably since the beginning of time. It's just a very cynical thing to do. It's like he's such a cynical dismissal in ideological terms. What are people's real needs on the ground? of they're really begging and they're really trying to sell something because they don't have money. They're not paid to fucking think. He's paid to do this blog and think. And like if you go through his blog, you see like they're organizing fucking like opera and like fucking church choirs and shit like that. And then they let us stay in their church, but they charge us money for it. So it's like we paid, and then also some of the people who were with us bartered some labor to help work on their church. So he came out ahead of it, and then he kicked us out. It's an interesting blog. I put it on here because I stayed at his blog for a little bit. Fucking douchebag. I wasn't even going to read the rest of his shit. But, so I put links to all of his blogs, and then the parts where I stayed there, I put links to my blogs, which weren't really publicized, but you could sort of see the back and forth. So I was going to read those maybe. I don't know if I'll have enough time. There's a bunch. There's like 13 maybe. We'll see. I just won't read mine. I'll read his. That's what I'll do. And then I'm going to read mine at a later time. Just when you think it's just all too much, I arrive at the church to find Jeff and Teddy and Jason and a young woman waiting for me. I go inside to check out the church, and it's as if no one has been there. All the belongings gathered up and out of sight, all the garbage bagged up and on the curb, all the flyers and papers off the desk, and the sign about what we need to beg, borrow, or steal. Not especially funny given my laptop. Thankfully gone. I breathe a sigh of relief and get ready for Sunday morning. Andre and Amy are getting the music ready. Some OWS folks have arrived before my members and are in the pews. I moved to see Teddy go help Rachel up to her seat. John is passing out bulletins. I explain at the beginning that it's a bit of a mashup Sunday. It should be is Baptism of Jesus Sunday, but Epiphany was Friday, and we're having a a tradition of celebrating Three Kings Sunday. For years we've shared the day with SPSA. Last year, Holly brought the crowns and the kings and helped us renew the tradition back at home. We started by singing As with Gladness Men of Old, then light our Advent and Christ candles one at a time. I talk about the end of Christmastide, lift up the drying pine branches, say how the season begins the day after Christmas when the urban forest appears as if by magic, disappears overnight as if had never been there, and ends day after day after Christmas as the trees reappear on the street, giving up their branches and crushed dried needles to fill the air with foreign scent, one last time before being mulched and added to the earth in Central Park. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a mouthful. It's just fucking, I got a little bit of common mouth. Shaz, you always forget that you eventually get high. You do. You do eventually get high. I also knows what Epiphany is. An occupier says it's like a... I ask, who knows what an epiphany is? An occupier says, it's like a prophecy, sir. Marcia says, it's like a light bulb in a cartoon strip, like a flash of light. When you get it. And of course, when John reads Genesis, that's where it begins, with the light coming on. We chant, Nada te turbe, and prepare to pray. P- breaks into an extended hymn and long extended prayer, looming eviction terrifying her. Occupiers nod in sympathy. The gospel takes us to the banks of Jordan, Jesus and John. I ask, how many are baptized? Almost everyone. Who was baptized as an adult? Only one, an occupier from the south. He describes the whole process, the white robe, the pool, the dunking. How did it feel? Nervous. Then I felt good, but I didn't have an epiphany. And we all laugh. And I ask who's had their children baptized and why. And we laugh at the idea, and it's almost like a spiritual inoculation. And I talk about community and community responsibility, and they nod again. And why Jesus? To be fully human, say some. Traditions, say others. And I talk about solidarity. To truly know us, he has to be with us in every way. This truly is Mark's Christmas story. God in human flesh. God God in us. And that is that that it, and that it is that which gives us our ministry, not ordination. Jesus had no seminary degree, wasn't even a deacon. We each have a gift from our birth that no one else has, and we are smarter together than alone. And they nod again. And our work is to help each other, each one find that gift, that light, and let it come. Let it come. Let it come out. Let it shine. Let it shine for all the good of all of us all. We take up the offering, and Andre and Amy sing this traditional Puerto Rican carol, De Tierra Lejaña. We place crowns on the heads of our children, and I take the basin from our old 800-pound Tiffany font. Pour water, pour in water. Add some water from the River Jordan. Remind everyone that we only recognize one baptism, but anyone who wants may touch the water, may come up and dip their fingers, touch the forehead, and cross themselves. And we sing the Three Kings and Los Tres Reyes Vernos Aquí. We gather in the circle and look around and see we've been joined by David, the violinist and conductor, and Martin, the flamenciero, P-Dash and Teddy asked for a special blessing, so I lend my hands. I showed Teddy the font. I say I'd like to get it restored someday, and he says, "Nah, it's been through it just like us." The sanctuary folks are arriving, luxuriating in the warmth. I showed Jane the old box set of 33 RPM Montavianas that Bobby has left for her, and she laughs. Magi among us. We gather in the session room for a Tres Reyes fiestas. Sharing food we have brought, Stephen wearing a crown, passing out gifts to the children, including his own. The session meets and greets to venture longer with the OWS folks. We'll see how it goes, and authorize a high school volunteer. I go home to say goodbye to my son Dan, and come back for the gift exchange. After the Steelers' overtime loss to the Broncos, curse you, Tom Thibodeau. I go back to welcome the occupiers back for the night. Where's the light? It is here. Here. It is here. That was weird. That was fucking weird. I creeped myself out. We can't read all of his. Alright, so I think I paid attention to what was going on. Alright, so Daniel's finally back. Hallelujah. Raphael needs to talk about security measures. Needs my backing to enforce the list. Keep people away from restricted spaces. And Susie, the social worker, is with him. I see Jeff and invite him over and talk about how a union security person and social worker on call are a necessity. Won't do without it. Out on the steps, a man is asleep. I tell him he's got to get up. He says, sure, doesn't move. I come back again. He gets angry. Man, why you always fucking with me? Why can't you leave me alone? The church, man. Let me be. Look up the street, sir. Do you see anyone else asleep on the steps? No, man, the mother churches let people sleep inside here. You won't even let me sleep on the steps. You keep fucking with me. I want to say, dude, I got like 100 right inside. But I say, and they all went through a program to get there. Time to go. He grumbles some more, goes. Gary is sitting to the south doorway waiting for Anthony. He gives me a thumbs up. I try to explain this all to Jeff. If someone's asleep there during the day, there's something else going in as well. Later I find Gary asleep. Gary, I can't make someone else leave and let you sleep here. Man, so we're all trying to sleep. It's like fucking some of us do security during the night and we're tired and we're just trying to sleep during the church during the day. But during the day, we all had to get out. We paid for the night. Fucking 100, 200 homeless people, me included. I went and stayed there for like fucking 13 days or like a week or two. And fucking I noticed that Jeff dude was a little shady and stuff started going missing. They stole the fucking pastor's laptop. And then like asked people, so I got there and I immediately started asking questions. I was like, yo, where's your security? What you guys doing? They're like, oh, fucking Jeff was supposed to put some people watching the doors, but he didn't do it. And then they told me the night that they stole They knocked over some fountain, baptismal, some shit. It's the water of Jordan. They knocked over, like, that's what he just said in that first blog. The waters of Jordan and his baptismal or some shit. Fuck it. They knocked it over during the party. By the time I got there, I was asking, like, I'm not against partying, but I'm like, why isn't there security, or why don't you guys fucking, like, watch people? But these guys from Jersey came over with a bunch of cases of beer, and they're just fucking, like, partying. So I said, who was in charge? Well, Jeff was in charge. I said, who was supposed to do the security? Because if you're in charge, you're supposed to, all right, organize people to watch the door in shifts. Do something, cover that liability. And so I told people, I was like, and I talked to Jeff, and I was like, Jeff, yo, fucking, if you don't get on top of the security, fucking, we're going to lose this place. And Jeff just turns to me. We're, like, in the fucking church, in the hall. We're in the balcony. It's a huge church with a huge fucking balcony. They put on shows there and opera and shit like that. It's like, it's a famous church. And so we're in the balcony above the stage, and I'm walking around to him, and I'm just telling him what I've observed. I'm like, yo, you need to, like, get on the security, and this place isn't secure, and fucking you guys are going to lose it. But there's, like, I was telling him, like, I wasn't really talking to the pastor, but I was like, from what I can gather, because I didn't know who was talking to who, so I was just kind of on the outside observing. But then when you read this guy's blog, you realize the pastor was talking to all these people. So I'd have to explain it more, because to me it makes sense, because I see all the people he's talking about. And then so that guy, Jeff, who was supposed to be the guy in charge, I was like, dude, you guys are going to lose the church. And he turns to me, he's like, Shaz, why are you trying to help these people? Look at them. Because the narrative in the news was that we were monsters, and we had knocked over the baptismal. We were basically pissing in the church. People were having sex in the church and fucking drugs. And, like, yeah, we smoked weed in the church and shit, but, like, we were fucking just paying for the night. It was like a motel. It was like fucking, it wasn't like a gift. Like, the people were in his basement working on this fucking plumbing and shit. Like, it was a weird situation. It wasn't, I thought it was just a gift until fucking I actually got into it and realized, like, it was about money. And fucking, and this guy gets to play his fucking, like, role as, like, savior to the savage, white man's burden type shit. It's interesting. So so Jeff was like, why are you trying to save these people? And that's when I hit Jeff with my patented, so how long you been working for the government, though, really, though? Yeah, but, like, how long? Like, so you've been, like, we know, like, just, like, how many years on the job is all. So I said, how long you been working for the government then, Jeff? And then he just looked at me, and of course you can't. First person who speaks loses, so it's like, they wouldn't take me, Shaz. And he turns away, and he's like, walking away, he says, they wouldn't take me, Shaz. And I'm like, fuck, dude, that's like a pretty good, like, line. I don't know what to, because that's a pretty good, like, narrative to play. Like, all right, fucking, he wanted to be in the government, they wouldn't take him. Now he's like, fucking, like, just trying to do this protest shit, but from his perspective. Like, I could see, like, that being his motivation. Or he's just a fucking agitator, and that's just fucking him just trying to be clever. But yeah, that was an interesting dude. He was just like, seemed like he was sabotaging the people trying to get him kicked out of the church, from what I can tell. It's like the kids are rowdy, like some of them, not all of them. So you have to make sure you have a security, and you can be like, you guys, like, I saw a guy bring his girlfriend, or some girl he met, and they were going to go off to, like, the corner and shit. And I was just like, I'd just be cool, dude. Don't make sure people don't see you or hear you. Like, we're paying for the rental of a space. Whether you think it's sacred or whatever, it's fucking up to you. But people are going to do what people do. When you don't want to be stealing shit. You don't want to be, like, knocking over their fountain, their holy water that they got from the Middle East. They shouldn't have been fucking partying in there probably. But people were up late talking. And then we were smoking cigarettes and doing that shit. What's the difference between smoking cigarettes and smoking a joint? What's the difference between talking and fucking? These are just varying degrees of communication, right? Anyways. That's where this guy's gonna fucking... So let's get back. I just want to get to the part where I could actually do this fucking in a half hour. Because that's it. I have all of the fucking shit in here if anyone wants to ever get into it. So... I was talking to this guy, Max, which I'm going to read emails to later on, too. So after I left the farm thing, I was like, back in the city, and a friend of mine was like, yo, you should check out this church. We're about to lose this church. And everyone's like, staying there. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. And so I went over to the fucking church to see if, like, we could maybe, like, build a relationship there. But, like, I didn't go and talk to the fucking pastor and shit. I was just observing. And that's when I noticed how, like, the security was bad. And so I was like, just staying up at night talking to these guys, and that's when you're trying to sleep in the church during the day, where you're sneaking into a corner and they're finding us and shit. I don't think I was the guy on the steps that you fucking was talking about just now, but yeah. So this guy Max, I would talk to about the stuff I'm trying to do in the movement too, and he was like behind the scenes trying to organize too. All of us are like, who was directing us? No one was directing me. I was just trying to plug in. But were other people being directed, or were other people coordinating their efforts? I don't know. Where was the coordinating push coming from? Hey, Max, I'm going to propose that we ask Jeff to leave the West Park community tonight in a community meeting. Yay or nay? Max, I'm pretty sure he already left. Well, then this will just make it official. Last night he was there. He told me he was staying. Also, we need to keep him off housing altogether. I'll keep you updated, dude. Thanks, dude. Okay. That's Max. He's like the guy with the glasses. It's like, and he like, he's always doing this. No, not quite that. Something like that. And no, Max is a funny dude. Max is a cool dude. Stone the Shaz for the win. And then what did I do after that? Oh, right here. Occupy Kiss. 5 days ago, I wrote a post about an emergency, so I'm going to read this all later. But this is just fucking tying into the past, because I had the pastor's blog and then introducing those characters. And that had me telling Max, hey, I'm going to fucking just fucking up this church. I'm going to try to kick him out of this church. So I said, 5 days ago, I wrote a post about an emergency housing situation that someone notified me about. A friend of mine was worried that the church she was staying in was going to be shut down because of the theft of a high-value item. I ended the post with no word back that things were okay, but feeling that everything was going to be all right. Well, mine is a workspace face, so I moved into that very church to make sure everything works out. Perched atop a balcony overlooking the cavernous room, half a football field in size, it's a big space to unpack your thoughts. Occupiers sleep among the pews below like wolves in a den. Some of these wolves have pissed on crosses. Some of these wolves have damaged church artwork. Some stole the pastor's laptop. And some of the filthiest, mangiest of the pack stole the cover to the church's baptismal, dumping out the water in the process. Water that came from the River Jordan. Dun, dun, dun. A pack of animals, or was it an animal as in lone wolf? I don't know, but I have noticed a change in my demeanor in writing over the past couple of days. I'm out of my funk, or at least can see the light at the end of the cave. I'm regaining my faith, which means I'm also back on the warpath. Bum, bum, bum. By the time I finally get to sleep, I realize I don't want a blanket. I don't have a blanket. Luckily, the trusted Titan's blue duffel is packed with clothes, so I layer up and bed down for the night among the yakking wolves. So anyways, that's interesting. That's like my old protest experience. But so that's cool. So that ties me into the fucking church. And then I'm pretty sure he comments it here too. Yeah. I'll read this whole thing, I guess. Yeah, this is pretty good. We're wrapping up around 30 minutes. As Daniel and I are catching up, this is January 25th. As Danielle and I are catching up, a woman comes in, frantic. "Excuse me," she says, "we have an emergency." That always makes me nervous. "My daughter was playing with her stuffed animal and threw it in the air and it got stuck in your scaffolding." Well, all right then. I'm ready to get a ladder and Dan the occupier, but Danielle figures we can handle this with a broom. We go outside and assess the situation. There, between a beam and the scaffolding roof, a stuffed pony is perfectly lodged. You couldn't do it if you tried. Hell of a throw. A little girl is frantic, her friend, looking, well, annoyed. Danielle reaches up with the broom. Just long enough. She pokes once, pokes twice, and the pony comes down. The little girl comes to gather it, squealing in delight. "So, what is your name?" I ask. "Natalie," she says. "And what's your animal's name?" I ask. "Pony," she says. Of course, I think. My most special friend, she says. Natalie, Pony, sister, or friend, and mother are soon off. Natalie turns and waves goodbye as they head down Amsterdam. I say to Danielle, if only every problem were so easily solved. Soon after, Robert, a young father with a tiny baby in a snuggly, walks in to take a look around. He's just moved to the Upper West from Brooklyn, clearly on the way. He's impressed by the beauty. Earlier, I hear Danielle outside the door talking to someone. I can hear the subject, feel she's maybe trying to protect me, so I open the door. He's pleasantly surprised to meet the pastor. Tells me he was a bit shocked by my reported language speaking to the occupiers, but he understands. I give my new mantra. He nods, but I can see where he wants to go with this. A random blogger. I'm making a lot of phone calls about P-Dash's case. To my chagrin, it's hard to get a hold of him. Impossible. Rosalia at Gale's office never fully understood what P-Dash wanted when she was in there. I don't have any docket numbers. Even if the court address doesn't make sense, time is running short. It's after 10 p.m. It's been a long program committee meeting at MIMS. But I have to come back to the church. A freelance photographer from the Times wants to speak to me. Maybe we can help reclaim the narrative. She's young, a little shy, but feels present. Elizabeth Herman. She's back from Bangladesh. Been working on a project, Aftermath. What happens places after. That's hopeful. She tells me she's been reading this blog. I breathe a sigh of relief. At least she's read my understanding of what's going on, and she wants to do a quieter story, hopes to counter the narrative that's out there with something more human. Counter what I call the idiot story, i.e. bleeding heart liberal pastor opens his doors to lowlifes. They pay him back with thievery and desecration. He gets angry, sees them for what they truly are, and throws them out. Now knows OWS for what it truly is. Thank you, Posta. Thank you, Fox. Thank you, Murdoch. And anyone can write that. Truth is more complex, harder to come by. That was a weird way to defend himself, because he basically articulated better than his enemies could their argument. I don't know what he believes. He's like, I just don't believe in that, and then articulates really well what supposedly the opposition's supposed to believe. I miss part of my mustache. I'm tired but energized. I walk her upstairs. I'm tired, but for some reason I'm energized. I walk behind her as she leads me upstairs, staring upwards towards my energy, what awaits energetically. I walk upstairs, introduce her. Raphael tells me someone else is here. Another woman with a camera. It's Los Angeles photographer Annie Apple. Just published a book on Occupy LA. Now doing a countrywide gig. Been to Portland, Seattle, cross country, and now New York. Seems high energy, a little travel scruffy. And again, we talk. She doesn't shoot anyone she hasn't talked to. I look at her book, begin to trust her. I show her Matt Weber's work just to show a culture of urban photography here. She says she wants a good background to shoot. I show her the session room, preferred by fashion photographers. No, the peeling paint, she says, they don't deserve that. It fills stereotypes. So we find a couple of good walls in the sanctuary. And before it's over, she's shooting me. Non-stop talk, putting me at ease, connecting. She sees my exhaustion, standing on the balcony. I tell her the story of the Stephen window. She wears a bright light like a miner's headlight. I tell her, don't shoot me looking old, tired, and worn, which is what I feel. She shoots good. I take her into McAlpine, introduce her. 2 photographers at large regain the narrative. Jeff talks to me about how tonight they had voted to pay rent to the church. Whoa, just tonight? I thought that was approved a week ago. He tells me it's all good. He walks out. I feel something else is going on. Jeff talks to me about how tonight they had voted to pay the rent to the church. Whoa, just tonight, I thought? It was approved a week ago. He tells me it's all good. He walks out. I feel something else is going on. 2 Mexicans come wanting me to write letters to say they are receiving sanctuary. I'm willing to go with hospitality. I write the letters. Turns out there are Poblanos from Puebla. There's so many Poblanos in this neighborhood that the state of Puebla has its own consulate up on Broadway. They call this Hood Pueblacita. They should go there when this ends. Stan is back from his new security job in the Bronx, looking good in his blue uni jacket. Badge stopped 2 shoplifters tonight before they lifted, he said. Could have used you last week, I said. I could have used me last week, he says. Burning midnight oil, looking for alternative housing. Raphael wants to talk to me. So what happened? Earlier tonight, they voted to oust Jeff, not only from his point person position, but from the community. Jesus Christ, the coup has taken place. I say there's got to be a mediation process, and no one gets put out at midnight unless there's an active incident. Raphael agrees, and there's more. He knows he can make this work. He's putting his heart and soul and every ounce of his energy into this. The sad and soulful look on his face is almost enough to move me away from this Saturday deadline. I am bone tired, exhausted beyond belief. It's heading towards 1, a long day today. It's heading towards 1, a long day today. Jeff gone today. Damn. Well, at least we saved Pony. Why do you want to save Jeff? Jeff was an asshole. If you care about fucking people robbing your fucking church, Jeff wasn't. I never had a chance to talk to this pastor. I messaged him on Facebook recently. I said, hey, yo, what's up? We should talk sometime. He was like, yeah. It's like I stayed in your church during Occupy. I'm sure we have some fucking shit to talk about. I said something. I forgot what I said. But, Shaz. What is this? 37. Fuck it. We're going to do the whole hour, I guess. Yeah, so Jeff was a fucking dude who was in charge when all the shit was going down, when the shit was getting fucked up and stolen, and the party that fucking spilled that baptismal. But listen to how this guy talks, and look at his values, and look at the way he articulates himself. And he's just a fucking. Maybe he's not malicious. It just takes a lot of fucking education to come off as this big of a fucking douchebag. He's like an intellectual bro. That's how I categorize him. Oh shit, Elizabeth Herman. So that girl, all these girls, I love all these fucking people who said they're photographers and took all these photographs and then fucking disappeared, and they never fucking see their shit again. It's a fucking real estate agent's website. I wonder if was this a real fucking photographer? Okay, this one was real. One out of every 2. I forgot that I was on fucking camera. I was looking at this girl to see if she was like, if I was in her photography. Yeah, and that was ego. That's funny. I totally forgot I was like recording myself on these little. Anyways, back to this. Excuse me. Why is this guy funny? This pastor is funny because he. Yeah, I wonder what his motivations are. Like, why did he like Jeff? Why did he like these other guys? Was he really just like I know Jeff was a bad guy. He fucking was making decisions that were causing the theft to happen, and the community didn't like him, but for some reason he was a point person. So that night I had a meeting, and I said, well, because I didn't study facilitation and didn't like learn how to put on the meetings that well, but I knew a little bit about it. So I was just like, let's hold one of our fucking meetings, and we held one of those fucking meetings. Like, all right, let's lead the shit. What's the agenda? Blah blah blah. Like, let's vote of confidence. Who believes that Jeff should be held responsible for like the fucking shit getting stolen? People said okay, and I'm like, well, like, they're saying they're gonna kick you out. Let's try like a new fucking leadership. Let's kick him out. Like, let's remove him. And then they're like, I forgot how we agreed that, but like it was just like we didn't really agree on anyone replacing him. We were just like, he's not allowed to make decisions for us and this and that, and just like fucking we have security now. I don't know. I forgot what I said, but anyways, they removed him from his position that night, and then the pastor says, "Oh my gosh, it's been a coup." It's like that's self-governing, that's managing, holding ourselves accountable, but the pastor has a very generalized view of what an occupier, and he humanizes us only in his specific examples of people he's trying to extend his benediction and blessing to. We're only ornaments to his fancy prose, but we're not human in and of ourselves. We don't. It's just, so I can't tell. That's what this year I'm trying to tell, if how much of what people believe is conscious and how much of it are just blind spots in their subconscious. So maybe he's just really a douchebag subconsciously and he doesn't realize it. But either way, he's not on the right side of history in his actions and his charity and fucking the people that he decides to sympathize with. But to his credit, I never really talked to him. I saw him. That's try to be subtle with your energy. I saw him in passing a couple times in the hallways, and there's no reason for me to talk to that dude. I was getting the score, and then I saw who he hung out with. And I saw he had Jeff in his ear and other people, and I was like, no, that guy's already... He's either being manipulated by these people, or he's a similar type of person, and they're just... I thought he was being manipulated by them. But then when I found out that he was like getting paid and like getting work done, I was like, oh no, he's just a manipulator too. That's why I thought the blog too was the ego. Just like I wrote my blog, but I wasn't until I'm sure about the tone. I have no desire to put it out there. I have to put it out there eventually, but like I feel like some people's motivation is to I don't know. And that's everyone. I guess I have that temptation too, but it's just you guard against that. That's a possible blind spot. A little bit of smoke. Clear up some of the smoke in the house. Anyways, that's emotion. All of these are emotional reactions. But what's really going on here is in Occupy Wall Street, we were staying at a church with a pastor there. We were doing a work trade, and we were also paying him money, but then stuff started going missing in the church. I started staying there because a friend of mine told me that they were going to lose the church, and we did lose it. And then we started staying more in the squats and other places. And then I went to Puerto Rico afterwards. But at least in that church, I got that asshole out. But they already defunded the church, and you could tell by how the pastor's talking. He had enough of us, and I have all of them. So like when I write the Occupy book, I could go back and actually read all this shit. He wrote a lot, but luckily he did write a lot. So there's a lot of stuff to dissect. He got his observation of the movement is relevant from his perspective, from his class and his profession and this and that. It's just not something that I would. It was interesting. Yeah, not something personally that I agree with. But. And his verification that the Shaz exists, despite what you fucking neglect to write in your books. Fucking Ben Rhodes, that motherfucker. That's fucking... So Occupy Kiss, alright. Huh. You know what? We don't have enough time to do this one. Maybe I should start now and then finish up next. Nah. So occupation, what else do I have? Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should make me tired. I could stop at 45 minutes. That's good. The occupation of West Park. So is there anything else I want to say about that? I got to Occupy Wall Street November 1st. We were raided November 15th. So between the 1st and 15th, we're in the park making friends. What's up? My name is Shaz. I was thinking, we need a census. Because if you're going to organize to fucking have a vote and make decisions, it's like the first resource is people. So I was going around asking people, just like I did in prison, what's your name, blah, blah, blah. And people were super sketched, like, hey, wait, fucking, why are you collecting no one's information? It's like, you don't gotta give me email and shit. I don't know, I just want to know who's here. I'm already talking to you. I see you're fucking like a female, fucking in your 20s, whatever. Like, give me as much information as you think would be useful for all of us to get to know each other. Just fucking, so I started again. I got like 30 or 40 people's info, but then I lost that. But it was really representative. It was cool because you got like a guy from Missouri, from fucking Kentucky. It's like it was an interesting mix of people. There were people from all over the United States who came out. And just talking to people, that's the main thing, is going around the park talking to people. And then when we got evicted, then it was about like, all right, now we're all in this together. So like, where are we sleeping tonight? We have a shared bond now. We all have to go find our shit at sanitation. They took all of our shit out of the park, threw it in dump trucks, and dumped it down these huge warehouses off of Chelsea. And you go over there and you just walk down these rows of fucking scattered shit like a pick and pull fucking junkyard looking for your shit. My laptop was all bent and crumpled and shit. My whole backpack was like, they threw it into a fucking dump truck. Fucking little mangled parts of puppies. You see like a little puppy walking with like half its body is just fucking like a spinal cord and entrails, and he's for some reason is still alive. The fucking guy's just like, and he's happy too. He's a happy puppy. That's the thing. There's a lesson in there somewhere. He's a fucking happy puppy. I don't know. It was interesting. And then the church came along that path. That was December. I had the farm in November. So the end of November, beginning of December, I had the farm, coming back and forth from that. And then I had that girl I was hooking up with until I guess I got butthurt that she didn't tell me she had a venereal disease. It's probably on me on that one. She was a sweet girl. She needed some, that's the thing, is like people who don't have affection and then they become a certain way. And then if they don't get that affection, it could become like a reinforcing cycle. Like I could see how like love would have opened her up a little bit, but she was I was just a little butthurt about stuff. She was interesting and sweet and very pretty, very pretty. Tiny small little girl with big boobs. She had like big boobs like a certain type of like short little Jewish girl are known to have. They're like promised land boobs, fucking to sustain you fucking over 40 years in the desert. Or some shit, I don't know. I don't know if I mix in my fucking... It's all the same shit in the Bible, isn't it? So after that, we had New Year's at the farm. So I went up there with the farm guys, New Year's. And then January, I did this, the church thing. Let's see, the occupation in West Park. So you get to watch his description of the occupation and then the people staying at the church. But see how I only joined in like January. So I was always staying at squats or friends. I had a friend in New York like every week or 2 weeks. I'd go grab a day or two and actually get a shower and shit. It wasn't destitute. When I was staying at the squats or one fucking like dumpster diving, you realize like you have friends above and below you. That's why it's good to have friends above and below you in social class. So it's like when you're on the streets and then people who know how to dumpster dive, now everyone does. Now everyone's like, oh, you found a new spot. You found like I went in and when I was doing real estate, found some guys over there down the street from Zuccotti. There were people who stayed in New York for like 3-4 years after Occupy, just living on the streets, because once you learn how. And they were across the street from Rite Aid, and I came with some food. Maybe I was delivering. I got like 3 or 4 jobs before I did real estate, like bar back, delivering food, fucking, doing a bunch of shit. So I was for Sarah Beth's, I think, bike delivery, and she, I stopped by with some food. I see these guys over there in fucking Wall Street, and I'm working in Tribeca, so I come back with some food when I get off, and they have a whole bag, a fucking trash bag from Rite Aid across the street. It's like they found like if sometimes the trash is hidden from you, sometimes it's not, but stuff like Rite Aid is all packaged already, and if you're eating the stuff that was thrown out that day, and if it's relatively cold, it's like it doesn't go bad for a day or two. Like they have to throw it out sometimes the day of or the day before. So it's not stuff you can really keep, but you eat pretty good. You could get fat. People get fat on the street eating trash. That's an interesting thing just in our culture, that you can actually survive pretty good off of the trash. My buddy in fucking the park that I dropped acid with, he's over there in the trash. He just don't have any shame, and he's right in the trash as soon as people put stuff in, and he's picking it out and fucking eating whatever he wants. Like, you want part of a burrito, and no. I'm good, man. I'm not on that tip, but yeah, he is a rugged individual. I'm sure I'll see that dude again. Then, so that was fucking, but yeah, January I decided to go down there. Also, that's when I was trying to wrap up the blog, which I'm going to read now. Occupy Kiss, the anarchist blog from OWS, is my narrative, my attempt to put a narrative over my Occupy experience. It was good. If I'd started with that and then like kept it up the whole time, it would have been really interesting. But maybe I could piece it together. Maybe that captured the theme and enough of the details. That's why I've always been kind of a lazy artist, where I'm like, that's enough for a sketch, and then fucking like look at how many pictures I've drawn since those first couple. I was thinking about that I should draw more pictures. But first, another video.